Kadilar. I'm the community manager at European Leadership University. And today I'm here with Dr. Riza Kadilar, who is our guest for the webinar series on the topic of coaching for data scientists. So of course, as you all know, that we at the university offer graduate programs in data science and also cybersecurity at the moment. And we not only focus on the technical skills of our students, of our learners, but also very much on the interpersonal skills such as your leadership and your coaching skills, because you as a data scientist have to be ready to communicate to your team and also of course to advise them and guide them on the right solutions for data related issues. So today we'll have around a 30-minute session with Dr. Riza Kadilar, after which we will have a private Q&A for those of you who are students at ELU. So with that, I would like to give the floor to Riza. And of course, while he is speaking, also feel free to write any reflections or any questions either in the chat or in the Q&A. So thank you again, Riza, for joining us, and very excited to hear more.
Perfect. Just a sec, I'm turning off my computer. Yep. All right, so do you hear me all right? The connection is good?
Perfect.
All right, Lara. And I receive from Mani to all panelists, yes. I also see what you write, be careful. Hi, this is Riza. I'm actually today in Istanbul, Turkey. I live part-time, half in Amsterdam, Holland, and half in Istanbul where I work, and my family is in the Netherlands. I'm a banker, actually, investment banker. Nobody's perfect. But at the same time, I'm also active in various global initiatives, one of them being coaching and mentoring. Currently, I'm serving as the global president of European Mentoring and Coaching Council. This is a professional body which aims to promote and develop and set the expectations of coaching, mentoring, supervision globally for the benefit of the society. So this is our purpose statement. It's an organization with members from all over the globe, more than 6,000 something direct members, and we also accredit schools, and our graduates are all over the world, more than 40,000. So one of the two largest accreditation professional body. I got involved with coaching a long time ago. It was early 2000, 2003, when I was a banker in London. A hobby gradually became a passion. A passion became a kind of quasi job for me, even though I never left the banking element. I'm a representative of an international bank. So I don't run a booking center. So I have more time to dedicate for coaching and mentoring. I use both words together. They don't mean the same. I'm going to just explain in a minute. Today, I'm asked to, in fact, funny enough, I'm really grateful to European Leadership University, because all in my speeches all over the world, when I'm asked two core advice, because I'm teaching also the future skills or the job skills that's required, or the leadership skills that's required with the changing world, business environment, the digital is it kicks in more and more speed away. I end up with two advice, two concrete advice. One, I say get involved with a mentoring, coaching, and I will explain why. And then I tell them to get data analytics type of a education. And here, I'm so privileged today talking to you, because you have already done that. Congratulations. And I'm going to come back to you why I believe what you do is right. And we're going to talk about coaching. I'm going to talk to you about three things. One is what coaching is promising to the rest of the world. Why coaching? Why now? The big picture with some definitions and everything. And then I'm going to talk about two core elements in coaching. One of them, we'll be talking about contracting. And then we'll be talking about this non-judgmental, non-directive dialogue. I'm told that you already went through some models like GROW. So we're going to combine what I'm talking about to what you have already learned. And in the second part of the day, of the workshop, I will be pleased to answer to your questions. Okay, the first part, what's the big promise of coaching today? Things started a bit earlier, like to start the last quarter of the previous century. What turned out to be the old methodology of command and control, or carrot and stick type of situation doesn't work any longer, because the real value added is produced by people who have non-routine and high value added businesses. So non-routine means even you do have a job description. What you do yesterday is not the same of what you do today. So it requires some sort of, innovation, creativity, and everything. And at the end of the, we're looking for highly skilled people. And highly skilled people, they don't get motivated with the old ways. So what's the new way? And the new way is turned out to be human brain is made up in such an interesting way. It serves its own purpose. It comes, the most sophisticated machine on earth comes without a manual, and the psychology, sociology, anthropology, many parts of science are trying to decipher, to understand what's going on. What they've discovered, our brains is wired in such a way, we protect ourselves, we have some major fears in life, but we also kind of have some wishes, needs to achieve for, and what's interesting, in order to protect ourselves, we create some patterns, and those patterns help us to better understand the world, makes that easier. In our patterns, we discount many inputs we receive in our brain. We see only the things that's serving us. And all those patterns becomes a sort of a barrier, protected area, some walls or some behaviors. And there's a famous book, it says, what brings you here will not bring you there. So what they discovered, the scientists, all those behavior or habits or belief systems or the patterns we develop becomes a barrier when we want to move forward. And we don't listen to advice. We seek for advice, but other people's advice belongs to them. So what works? The human brain, when we are aware of what's going on, we develop our own strategy to overcome and to reach and to be free. There's a famous saying, a poet, Rumi, the Sufi philosopher, it says, in the abundance of the universe, why do you choose to fall asleep in a dark prison, in a dark cave? That's a very key sentence for coaching. It simply means whenever you feel like there's either or, one way or another, so whenever you feel like you are squeezed between different choices, whenever you feel like you are stuck, whenever you feel like your life is consisting on nothing but repetitive, patterns and problems, then you're missing out something. There's always a third way. There's always other ways. And what coaching promises, once you look inside, when you discover your increase your awareness with the subject, there is a possibility that your brain will move forward. Will show you the way to move forward. It's a bit paradoxical, I know, it's a bit mysterious, I know, but this is true. And it's been proven. And psychology moved on with different areas like human-centered psychology, Gestalt, cognitive behavioral psychology, transaction analysis, positive psychology. And at the end of the day, what they've discovered, a science that's been dealing with nothing but pathology, sickness, has also something to offer to the people who are okay. People don't need to be fixed, but they deserve to have a better life. And one of the application area of all those discoveries became coaching at the end. So coaching is a dialogue in which a person discovers issues, his relationships with the issues, increasing his awareness, finds what's the barrier, what's in their way, what will be useful for them, what's the real goal or what the goals could be, and move forward. Especially for highly educated people who are doing innovative jobs, who are doing in the non-routine universe, that's a big motivation area. So this promise brought coaching not only as a profession, but in today's social contract, every single profession requires coaching skills. I'm going to touch about the coaching skills in a minute, but what I'm talking about, if you're a policeman, if you're a nurse, if you are a teacher, if you are a data analyst, if you are a leader in an organization, or you're just at entry level in your parents, different parts of your life, those the coaching attitude, coaching skills do help. For example, at EMCC, we do accredit some programs where those programs are offered to, for example, UK Metropolitan Police Department. Today, every single police officer should learn how to listen, how to ask questions, how to show empathy, those things. So coaching is big, coaching is important, and coaching is not just for coaches, but for everybody. It's a toolkit. It's like a key. It doesn't open all the doors. It's not something that you should be using every day in every situation, but whenever needed, when you sense, it should be something in your toolbox. So that's why I congratulate you and the designers of the program to put by putting such a module here. One last thing about the promise of coaching. As you know, with technology changing, you are the experts of technology changing, but its implications in the workplace, in the future of work, debate, and everything. And especially I don't know your age group, but more you get younger, especially the millennials, we discover that the old ways of hierarchy doesn't work. Even if in the company there's hierarchy, it doesn't work with people. When I started my banking career a long time ago, there was a department and I was instructing them what to do. And, they were delivering. Long time ago, I lost that. And today, I would say I can't command anything to anybody at all. So what it means, I am there to deliver what I have to deliver, thanks to people on whom I have no control at all. We call it multi-stakeholder network management. So it could be people working in the same company. It could be people that you employ for a project who are totally outside of your company. It's your network, and your network doesn't depend on you. They are contracted for a purpose, and this purpose is there for you, nothing else, to use to motivate them, to guide them, to push them, to pull them to deliver something. So that's why interpersonal skills, especially benefiting from coaching skills, is a must. In today's business world, in order to survive, you need to understand people's main drives, main barriers, main fears, main aspirations. Even if when they don't even dare to talk truth to themselves, you should be able to feel and understand. So it's challenging, but at the same time, it's wonderful. Let me bring this part, just making an amazingly shortcut summary of what coaching is. Think about the triangle. On top, put the coach. Here, you put the coachee. And here on the other bottom corner, you put the subject, whatever the subject is, the issue, okay? And put the corners. And please, just imagine the bottom line connecting the issue and the coachee is the red one. Coaching is not about fixing the purpose to people. So the coach doesn't aim to fix the coachee. Coaching is not about fixing the issue, the problem, the subject. So the coach is not an expert in any matter. But coaching is all about increasing the awareness of the coachee related to the subject, whatever the issue. It could be like you're working with 10 people, you get along very well with all of them, but with one of them, you always get stuck, okay? So what's there? What? When you increase your awareness, you discover all the parallel processes. When you focus there, you discover the things that you have never seen before. Your previous life, your other engagements, and then you discover something not about this person, but your relationship with this person is actually the issue. Or for example, you just have 10 people sitting on your shoulder in a day, but you remember only one of them. Or sometimes you feel like the person comes back with the same issue all the time, a repetition. Is it about fixing the person? Is it about finding the solution to the problem each time? But finding these guys or girls' relationship with the issue, why there is a pattern. So coaching is nothing but all about discovering that. Second part of what I want to share with you is in coaching, one of the very critical issues is contracting. Contracting is all about boundary management. Whenever you start talking with somebody in the coaching mode, in the coaching format, or whenever you do coaching to somebody else, you should start with contracting. How much time do we have? How are we going to talk about it? What am I allowed to do? Can we walk, sit down, or it's a comfortable place to sit? Create the environment, hold the space, give certain freedom and comfort to the coachee, so that the whole process becomes natural and you build trust. And a critical part of building trust is confidentiality. So please allow some pretty important time, effort to talk about confidentiality, what confidentiality means to you. It could simply say, the Vegas rule, so whatever we talk will stay there, but it doesn't happen easily that way. So everybody has some boundaries. There are legal issues, there are ethical issues, there are, moral issues that you can leave there, but sometimes you can't really leave there. So confidentiality is kind of a must to create this safe space for both of you to really open and be honest with what you talk about. It's not an easy subject, but it's a subject that a part of contracting, a very important part of contracting. And in contracting, there's also a triangle. I'm lately dealing a lot with triangulation. So whenever you talk about binomial polar, it becomes polarized. But when you put the third angle, it really helps, a different kind of way of looking. In coaching contracting, there's always a triangle, because you have the coach, you have the coachee, and then you may have the sponsor, the HR department, the boss, the wife, the empty chair, okay? So, because at the end of the day, coaching is not serving the needs of the coachee, but actually the stakeholders, the partners, the people surrounding, or even the environment surrounding the coachee, because the end beneficiaries are the people that the coachee touches. So when you do the contracting, you may also think about triangulation, which means you do a contracting between coach and coachee, but think about an empty chair and put on the empty chair whoever relevant, and you can change this, whoever relevant. Contracting should be three ways. And sometimes if you do coaching in a company environment, you really end up having three people, the HR or the boss, the coachee, and the coach. They do get agreed on the goals, on the purpose, on the ways, on hows of coaching. Being aware of time, I'm going to move to the third part. And the third part is about dialogue, how coaching does that. Coaching achieves this with a set of competencies. I'm not going to touch everything because in such a small, short time, impossible. Because in coach training, we're talking about 5-6 modules, each 3 days over a year, more than 100 hours, and practice and practice and practice. Here, you just get a flavor and basic understanding of the concept. A dialogue which is non-judgmental and non-directive. It's not easy because our brain is wired in such a way that whenever we receive an input from, when we see somebody else, we judge them. We judge very quickly, friend or foe, good or bad. I can trust or don't trust, whatever. So the brain works that way. But for coaching to work, you need to really be open, honest, objective, celebrate and respect the coachee's word, environment, actions, behaviors, and then starting from there to move on together hand in hand wherever the coachee wanna go. Non-judgmental dialogue requires, it simply means you never create a strategy in your mind. It's not about solving a puzzle. All education systems is about solving puzzles. They always give you one less information and you find this information. The Cold War was about solving the puzzle. In today's world, there's ample information everywhere. So it's not about solving the puzzle. It's about putting meaning on what we live. So when you think that way, the solution to create such a dialogue is to use some key questions. And those key questions that will serve you to create this non-judgmental, non-directive dialogue are these famous open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions doesn't serve us because it doesn't bring anything to the coachee. He or she doesn't already know, because yes or no, yeah, he or she knows. But when you ask about these open-ended, strong questions, it could be what, it could be when, who, where, how. All those questions really do serve the coachee to think and to discover what's missing there. Warning, we don't use why. Why is a question we try not to use at all, because what's going on with why, whenever you ask somebody, why are you late? Or why do you eat that? Why do you do that? It simply means implicitly, oh, I shouldn't be late. Oh, I shouldn't eat that. Or I shouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? Really comes like, maybe I shouldn't. It's defensive. So in a defensive mood, you can't really discover the awareness, the red line I mentioned earlier. It doesn't happen. Every why question can be asked in a what format. Why are you late could be asked like, what makes you late? What's the reason for which you're late? Why do you do that? What's the reason? What makes you do that? What do you expect by doing that? Blah, blah, you know, what? What really helps? The shortest version of any question in a what format is a great question that serves us. And you know how we understand we ask the right, amazing, resonating, you know, the best question? There's a silence. The pupils of the coachee starts to a bit shake. He or she starts to look a bit in the horizon, you know, and then there's a silence, which means the brain starts to work. Means he or she is there to increase her or his awareness about the subject, trying to get things from somewhere that he or she was not aware before. So whenever there's silence in coaching, we need to hold this silence. Sometimes the silence can go pretty long, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Try. 30 seconds looks like an hour, you know, in the middle of a conversation. 10 seconds is like an endless. But we need that because there's a famous book, The Fertile Void, because every time the coach speaks, ask a question, maybe he or she kills many unborn good ideas. That's why silence is so important. Being aware of time, we have only 2 minutes left. I should also add another very important element of coaching that really serves non-judgmental, non-directed dialogue is the skills for listening. We of course listen to the subject, but as a coach, we listen from different channels as well. We listen the emotions. We listen to the thinking patterns. We also watch and listen to the body language. Two ways of body language. One body language that supports the speech. That's okay, it's not so important, but which is also more important, sometimes there's a contradictory body language. When he says, I was so excited. You know, you don't express your being excited in such a way. There is something there, you know. And then we also listen to our inner voice, because our brain doesn't stop, you know, always say something. Sometimes relevant, you know, we judge him or we remind something that you forgot in the fridge or whatever. So your brain also works. So as a coach, the active, deep listening is all about listening to all those channels without at all concentrating about what you want to ask. Be with the flow, but hold the space for your coachee to be able to discover more and increase their awareness about the issue. So 3 things. The promise of coaching to this today world is very important, because the social contract, the new business life, requires us to motivate people in a different way, to communicate with people in a different way. And this different way is the norm today. It's not about generation gaps and everything, but today's technology, today's fast-moving way of life requires us to coaching, and everything coaching is promising for. Contracting, triangulation, it's boundary management. So in order to have people's confidence, being open and being present here and there, you need to create some sort of a confidence to the room, and we call this contracting. And the third element, all these miraculous result of coaching happens when you really hold on to this non-judgmental, non-directed dialogue, and we use some skills like questioning, listening, and some other skills to hold the space for the coachee to initiate an inner journey to reach wherever they want to reach. And that's mystery is great. We call it aha moment. Sometimes during the coaching session or in between 2 coaching sessions, coachee discovers something. And at that moment, the mystery of human brain, things are no longer the same. When you're in the Gestalt, they're saying, in order to create change, you honor the resistance to change. Because when you honor the resistance serves for its purpose. And when its purpose is served or saved, resistance disappears and change occurs smoothly. Let me stop here, because I think time, we already finished our first half an hour. I think, Lara, so what do we do now? So we have a break, or how do we move on?
I think we're good to just continue. So I would suggest just moving into some of the questions. There's already been a question that's been posted on the chat. So I'm very excited.
Just one?
Just one so far. I'm expecting more. So of course, also feel free.
How many people? Because I don't see the people, don't I? So here on my screen, I don't. You do see them. How many are we? How many people?
So we are 8 people in total.
Okay, so we're expecting 20, but we end up with 8.
Yes.
Thank you, 8.
Friday evening.
Yeah.
Always a bit tricky.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, for those of you that are here, and thank you for your time, I would love to not only see some questions, but also your ideas, some reflections, especially also maybe your experiences with coaching yourself, since I know that some of you as our students have already put this into practice, and I was very honored to be one of your coaches actually. Mani, it's great to see. I have a lot of reflections to carry with me, so do feel free to write them in the chats. Maybe we can start with this first question that is coming from Sumit. So Sumit is asking, how important is speech for coaching, especially coaching interdisciplinary data scientists? And more specifically, as someone with a speech impediment, should he be pursuing coaching at all?
Coaching isn't about talking. Coaching is about an attitude. It is an attitude to invite people to dare to go in their mind to places where they don't want to go alone. So I would say, I don't know what and how serious is this speech issue is, but if you survive, if you lead your way with your, so I would say that wouldn't be a problem, a barrier. That could even be an advantage. It's weird, I know, but let me explain. We have a principle. For example, I'm a banker, and I don't coach people from the banking industry. In banking, there are different ways of banking, but at least on my specific area, I tend to, I have a principle, I accept coaches from my domain. Because more I know about the domain, more I'm judgmental. More I have my own, puzzle and my solution to my puzzle. So I have my own way of solving the issues, which is good maybe for me, but not for my coachee. So I make the reflection. So when you don't really talk, it's a great place for your coachee to do the hard work, and the coachee should do the hard work. So it's all about being able to ask him the right question, or being able to invite the coachee to the silence space. That could be challenging, but once you do that, I think coaching is not the best coaches, they barely talk. They barely talk. You don't need to talk. You only need to talk when coachee deliberately plays a game to avoid the issue. So you bring him back to the issue, then you leave it there. So that's why I think speech impediment, I don't know how serious it is, but that wouldn't be a no-fly zone. And how important coaching for data analysis, I think it's very important. Because what will make you distinct from the rest of the crowd will be your communication skills. So I just shared, I will invite you all to get connected with me on LinkedIn. So I do share from time to time some articles there. And one of my latest updates was about, it says, don't teach your kids coding, but teach them to communicate. So it's very politically incorrect for me to say it here. But yeah, that's true. Most probably coding will become another commodity going forward because of the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, blah, blah, or more smarter people all over the world, whatever. But being able to communicate very complex subjects will become more and more important. So you have an advantage, you already understand the complex subjects. Then the challenge, you should be able to explain them to me. Because I will be somehow a part of your life. Either your success will be serving my department, or I will be your client, or I will be your, I don't know, supplier or whatever. So if you can't communicate your issues with me, you're in deep trouble. Because I can't even understand what you're doing. It's so complex, so complicated. So I think coaching would really help to understand what my problem is when I don't understand what you're talking or what you're doing. And then understand people's attitude. Sometimes you get weird reactions from people when they just got stuck, and being stuck is not good. And coaching skills can help people unstuck. So that's why I would strongly recommend that coaching is very relevant for you. So let me go for another question.
Yeah, thank you, Riza. And I see that Mani, indeed, he has a lot of reflections and some questions as well. So Mani is one of the students who's already put his coaching into practice at ELU in our practicums. And he said, I realized that we can discover wonders while coaching. I think I've already felt that in my practicum sessions. And okay, Trishla, actually. So, and the first question is, as a coach, what are the ways I can get this contract for my coachee to ask personal questions if it is required in that session?
First of all, my first question to you would be, why is that an issue? Because if you see this as an issue, it says something about your own inner process. I would first go there and to check personal issues, asking questions about personal issues. What's special about them so that you find it difficult or important, or I don't know, like whatever you find it. But first of all, go down back to your own, resources to find why this is an issue for you. Then when you clear this, first of all, believe it will be much easier. And the second thing you could do, you could really ask a question. If we go a bit personal, what could go wrong? Or what can I do to comfort you if we start talking about personal issues? Or you can even just define what's a personal issue. Something's personal to you may definitely means business for me. I don't know. That will be my just open the subject and see where it goes. And contracting is not something you do at the very beginning. You can do it anytime. So you can allow your coachee to come back and to recontract with you. So whenever you give them to freedom, for example, you are free to stop me whenever you feel like it's too personal, the coachee will feel more comfortable because he or she can always stop the process. I think those small clues could help, like a hint in that area. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it looks like it helped. Some great comments and many questions right now in the chat. So I'd like to move to a next question, which is, can I be both the coach and the coachee myself? So is there such a thing as self-coaching?
Yes, that's the beauty. You get free coaching sessions from yourself all the time. But no, you raise your own awareness. I think nobody left us from the first part of the session. One thing I forgot to say, or maybe I didn't forget, but I should add here, is coaching is a great tool to decrease the price we pay, the pain we bear to live the life we lead. Because your way of life comes with a price tag, okay? It's psychological burden, it's, I don't know, financial burden, some sort of a burden. Once you're aware of your own inner processes, the pain or the price you pay to lead this life you're living decreases a lot. So that's why I would say you start to, more you go deeper, you learn about techniques and everything, you see that, whenever you get angry, you take a moment and you ask yourself, what makes me angry now? And the answer you find is totally different the very first thing that comes to your mind. Because the anger is not about the people, it's about you, yourself. And when you understand where you feel this anger, you know your own inner strategies to deal with it. The other side is easier to tackle when you control your own inner processes. So it's like this. I think you can't, I wouldn't name it, you can coach yourself, but you can use coaching skills on yourself. This is actually how the question was reframed. I think that will definitely help increase your awareness, and your increase in the awareness will help you to move on.
Fantastic. So before going to Trishula's third question, I would like to go to Michael's question. And that is, how do you balance maintaining good relationship to ensure the coachee doesn't get too familiar? So I'm assuming here that it is when you see one coachee over an extended period of time.
Yeah, that could be over an extended period of time, and it shouldn't be. There should be an end for your process. So coaching is not for life. So, it could be, but then you should be very, very comfortable with your contract, with your boundaries, and the way you manage it, because then it becomes symbiotic. And one of the big promises of coaching is coaching doesn't allow you to be a victim mode. You are in charge of your life. So there's always something you can change. There's always something you can do. There's always, you can at least go through the same process with a different inner self. So there's a to do, and also there's a to be part of coaching. Um, and coaching, big claim is you should be in charge of your life, not passive, not victim, but definitely. So it shouldn't be a symbiotic relationship. Too familiar, I don't know what it means, but it's a part of the boundary management. It could be interpersonal. What I would say, it's a part of the ethical dilemmas that you may face. When you put two people in the same place all alone for an extended period of time with very intimate conversations, that dialogue could turn into other things. It could be you can start a company, you can fall in love, or you can, I don't know, bring the families in the picture. You can become friends, Whenever you feel like things are moving in any direction, but not coaching, just allow both coachee and yourself to stop and make a decision. Either you continue the coaching relationship, or you're free to be a business partner, life partner, whatever partner, or whatever. But don't try to do two. Just be honest with naming your relationship. It's coaching or not. I think once you really focus on the coaching element of the relationship, I think this too familiar concept would not be a big issue. But again, too familiar, I don't know what it really means. From what I understand, I hope that is a good answer to this question.
Thank you. And yeah, Michael, if you have any follow-up question, feel free to, of course, write in the chat. So one other question that came up is, what would make me feel confident as a coach during the coaching session, especially for those of us that might be more new to coaching?
Let me rephrase the question. What makes you uncomfortable or non-confident, or how do you call it, the opposite of confident, as a coach? Or how do you feel that you're not confident? What makes you feel not confident? Just tackle there. My early years, I remember, for example, I was focusing on, I need to perform, I need to be a good coach. There's no such thing. There's no performance, there should be a performance stress. And the performance stress shows itself, I need to find the right question. I need to find the right question. Who cares? Maybe you don't ask the questions, even better. Just focus. This triangle, you remember the triangle, the red corner? Focus there. Put your focus there, your curiosity there, your compassion there, your care, your curiosity there on this line. Don't be curious about the person. Don't be curious about the subject. Be curious about what this person is not aware in this relationship. What he or she can discover about this relationship, this issue people. Let me give you an example. A client comes with, she's married with a son, and then she comes and says, the apartment is too small for us now, we need to move out. And that could be a coaching issue because, moving out requires lots of new re-engagement with business, with family, with husband, with a greater family, the way of life, the child, and everything. So assuming that our coachee is a female coachee, so many things, okay? So that could be many things. Once you try to fix all those, you're not in coaching, because then you could be a real estate agent, or you could be the optimizer. You could be optimizing the transportation to work or whatever. So the coachee is fully capable of doing all those things. Find a real estate agent, or just find the app to check what's the best location for his or her work or whatever. What you should really focus, what makes this house small for her? Because the worst thing that could be if she moves again and still feels this small house feeling, or the house getting smaller, the walls doesn't move, okay? there's something else in our life to create this feeling. So when you put your curiosity on there, you're a confident coach. But whenever you try to find a solution to the puzzle, then it's difficult, because you're not an expert of real estate, you're not an expert of relationships, you're not an expert of human psychology, you don't know what happened to your childhood or blah, blah. Of course, that could make you uncomfortable or non-confident. I think my suggestion for you, first of all, don't try to solve any puzzle. Don't really, please, focus on what question next I should ask, blah, blah. Relax, let go, and then put your curiosity on raising the awareness of the coachee with the subject, whatever the issue is. Then you will see. If anything happens, great. If nothing happens, at least you don't cause damage to your coachee. So it's a nice conversation for an hour. It's a gift to your coachee. Whom can we find in today's life who would allocate 1 full hour, 1/2 full hour, I don't know, dedicated to listen to us? No such thing. Your presence there is a big gift. As I said, focus on this red line. I would say that will be my core advice.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that really resonated with me as someone who's received some coaching, some mentoring before, and how I don't think that you can always know what's going on inside your coachee's mind. So at times for me, it was not the coaching session itself, but maybe a week later where I reflected back on it, where I got like to that aha moment. So you might not always be part of that moment as well as a coach, but it is the space that you create to make that happen for someone. So one thing, for example, when you were talking about what is it that makes you feel not confident, as one person shared in the chat, is I was very much concerned about the silence you spoke of, that's so important in coaching, and pause in my first session. It was very uncomfortable for me the first time, and I started asking more questions instead to the coachee. So how can you maybe start to get more comfortable with that silence, because it's not something that we get a lot in the real world?
Do it. I can't really. You should try. You should be confident. You should. But what really helps, put it in your contracting. Talk with your coachee. Tell them that there will be very, very big silences. Okay. It's a part of the process. They have to live with it. They have to, understand it's good for them. That could maybe help. Then you can be more confidently silent for a longer period.
Perfect. So I don't think there's any outstanding questions. Anyone have any final questions? We do have a bit more time. So maybe while we see if there's any questions coming in, I do have a question myself, which is how, if I am looking for a coach, but also if I'm a coach to someone, how do I know that this person is the right coach for me? Or how do I know that I'm the right coach for that person?
Second part of the question, I don't know. How can you know that you're the right person to coach this person? That's it's a very important supervision question, because when you feel that you are the right person, right coach, it says a lot about your fears, your preferences, your own barriers. And that's where you can learn a lot. Whenever you feel like that you're good for somebody, just try to understand what makes you feel you're good. Because, coaching is all about growth, being stretched, being shaken. So maybe, I don't know, that could tell you a lot about, as a coachee, whether this is the right coach for you or not, it's just a feeling, okay? We call it the chemistry. Once you develop more and more your coaching skills, you see, somebody's I don't know. So your expectations and your skills goes hand in hand. Once you're in early stage, I think you don't have much judgment, but you just feel. And as a coachee, you're not there to judge your coach. Stick to your own agenda. And you will see at the end of first, second, or whatever session that you don't really move at all. It's nice to say thank you, and that's it. So it's not you're not bound to work with the same person for a long period of time. I wouldn't be able to really answer this question. So there are many psychological strategies in your mind that puts you in a trap or that helps you, and there's no very clear remedy or solution for that.
Yeah, but what I'm hearing is that it's maybe not so important to find a coach who has the same field of expertise. Like you said, you don't necessarily coach bankers yourself, but really someone that you feel a trust relationship with, I guess.
Exactly.
Perfect. So with that, I think we do not have any further questions coming in on the chat, but I really want to thank everyone in attendance so much for sharing all your thoughts, all your questions. It's great to see your reflections as well. And I will be sharing a recording and also Riza's LinkedIn profile with you, so you can check out the writings he shares there too. And Riza, of course, to you, thank you very much for today. It was very insightful.
My pleasure. And this is an ongoing dialogue. Please feel free to ask any question you may have in the future as well. So I will be connected and delighted to get connected with you, because I'm also, I'm sure there are a lot I will learn from you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. So I'll be closing the session. Thank you all, and hope to see you at a next webinar as well.
Thank you.